15%. We need to address these issues today. We can't be controlled. How can we address current problems if we're spending that percentage of our budget on debt service? I mean, you can't address your current problems if you're too busy paying off what you borrowed on in the past. We really need to get a handle on it. I think the responsible thing to do is to codify that debt service limit and live within our means. All right, let's move on to what can we do to get the county going. I've heard from a number of you over the years about the hurdles you have to get through to get development done. We're so desperate for development in the county now, we're proposing a redevelopment ordinance that gives the same incentives to develop greenfields as it does brownfields. Now, there are certain reasons for that. With the greenfields, incentives to develop greenfields, people are giving up their rights on an older plan, so you want to give them something. But we shouldn't have the same exact incentives for developing a greenfields where no plan has been put in place, where the property sat vacant, as we do for brownfields, existing facilities that are abandoned, vacant, underutilized, or potentially contaminated. We need to spur development in these tough economic times when DelDOT doesn't have any money by developing where we've already had that development. You know, getting rid of the eyesores in the community, developing where it's a lot cheaper, where the existing infrastructure exists, where the sewers exist, where the roads exist, where we have electricity running, where you can have legitimate reasons to set county approvals to give incentives to get through the process in a reasonable amount of time. And you run these, go to the next slide. That's our debt ceiling. Next slide. All right. Didn't want to have to look at the debt ceiling forever. It's bad enough when I redevelopment is just a perfect opportunity to take a tool that's been utilized actually by the state. For every $1 that the state has put into brownfields redevelopment, it is realized, what is that, Marion? $17 back for our taxpayers. We can do the same sort of thing in redevelopment when we redevelop our county. Look, anywhere throughout a developed portion of the county, there are opportunities for redevelopment. There are opportunities for redevelopment in our coastal zone. We need to consider, and this is from somebody working at the EPA. I worked at the EPA for a couple of years. I believe we need to re-examine the effect that the Coastal Zone Act is having on our ability to attract new industry to our state. 1970, the Coastal Zone Act was needed. It was absolutely required. We needed that to protect our precious resources that was our coastal zone. Over the years, it served to grandfather in polluting industry and discourage new innovations. We've already shot down recycling industry at the waterfront. We've already shot down, because of incinerator bans, a plant that wanted to come in and take scrap biomass and convert that to on-site energy generation, lowering the carbon footprint of our state by hundreds of thousands of pounds of pollution. We need to rethink how we're regulating our industry and what we're doing to discourage new, clean, innovative technologies from coming into our state. Redevelopment's the first way, looking at some of our antiquated, economic killers that we have out there as far as our old legislation, as far as the incinerator ban. Let's look at the UDC. Let's set up a pilot program to get folks through a development process in a redevelopment, in a brownfield. Value stream map the process like we did in the brownfields program. Get people through the process. Businesses, if you get an answer, that's so much more valuable than being strung along for 8 months. I mean, if you get a no within 2 weeks, you can know how to react as a business. If it takes you 8 months to get a no, you're not going to want to come back and do business with the county. We need to change the very fundamental nature we approach business in the county. We need to look at redevelopment as a positive thing. Use that as a pilot project for how we need to deal with positive, smart development going forward. We can't offer tax incentives. We don't have many incentives in the county. Why can't we offer tax abatement for new and startup businesses? Share the burden with the landlord for renting to these startups that need the space. You know, the chamber, I see Bob Chadwick from the chamber here. The chamber has an active business incubation model, but they can't do it alone. We need to increase our public-public partnership with the chamber. That's things we need to do to get our economic engine going again. Let's face up to the realities that we have here in our county, make those tough decisions that we need to make, stop kicking the flipping can down the road, take the action that we need to make, and we'll all be better off in the future. So you'll probably have a few questions. Be happy to take questions for a few minutes. It's the day after tax day, so I know you're exhausted. But. Question?
Two questions. The way you dealt with the current debt, I thought, you're not suggesting we default on that, are you? Question. The second question is, you've loaded up a lot of the problems on the staff side of things, being, medical care and pension, da-da-da-da-da-da. What programs might you say are no longer fundable by the county?
But we're talking about consolidation and elimination of services. I mean, that's another factor that we need to look at. I mean,
consolidation and elimination with who? Within the county, or with
within
another governmental authority?
Both. There are opportunities, and even I use the mayor as an example. For the first 10 years of his term, if you mention metropolitan government, I think he would probably might want to slug you. Now that he's not running for re-election and the city's facing an incredible economic crisis, he'll actually talk to you about a metropolitan type of government. That is a consolidation of redundant services that we're all providing. We provide services in incorporated municipalities in Newcastle County. We provide those very same services in the county, and we provide those very same services in the state. Look at, we talk about public safety. We have 3 separate administrative functions for each one of those municipalities or geographic locations. Wouldn't it make sense to have one administrative body for all of those areas? You have to tackle those issues holistically anyway. So,
discussion?
Sure, please.
You're having that conversation with a fellow you admitted is short term. Have you had that discussion with city council?
Yeah, actually we have. Talked to a few folks on city council, talked to the mayor's office, talked to Bill Montgomery. These are things that we need to work together on. I've actually, first on that issue, second on economic development. There's a perception in county government that we don't want to work with the city because they're separate and distinct. We need to be hand in hand working on economic development, like down at Loma, Lower Market Street. The Queen just went in. I think that has got people realizing that we can work together cooperatively to incentivize even arts. Arts can be an incredible economic driver, as we're seeing down that corridor. You have Loma, you have, which is a new spirit of the nonprofit coffee shop. You have the Queen, you have the Grand. I mean, this is an arts district that it's actually seeing economic development. But we need to partner, and when the county hears of opportunities, it needs to partner with it's WEDCO. I mean, WEDCO and Newcastle County and Dido. We need to talk. I mean, our economic development offices redundant. Our policing redundant. There are so many redundant functions that we're serving throughout our governments. If we took the time